What is up, you guys? It's Warren, and today we're talking about sampling and basic sample controls. You, for the most part, are going to see some of the same controls all over the place. And these basic controls are the basic foundation and building blocks of the way people flip samples. Please smash that like button and subscribe. So I've loaded an instance of Fruity Slicer, which is pretty outdated, but that's great for this lesson because it means it's really basic in its controls, and it's going to be easy for us to see the things we're going to talk about. First thing you'll see in most samplers is an attack and a release setting. And we can see that over here in these two sliders. Now, in most samplers, when you move the attack or the release, it's going to affect all the channels. Now, in some samplers, you'll actually be able to change the attack and releases by the different sections. So simple, if you know what an attack is or a release, you can skip forward. If you don't, as I turn it up, see it fades in. It's not as percussive. It goes wah versus all the way down. And descent's going to be the same thing. When it let off, it, right, kind of sank. Versus. Next thing you'll often see, most all samplers are going to have a reverse, which means if I click this button here, I mean, pretty self-explanatory, right? That's kind of hard. Ooh. Next thing we're going to look at is pitch. So just like we're going to generally have a reverse and other options like that, we're also usually going to have a pitch shift. If we look here, PS, pitch shift. So if I move this, ooh, that's even harder. Now, something I didn't include in my notes is our time stretch. And this is going to be able to just stretch or shorten a sample so that it fits a specific amount of time. If I move it drastically, that went really quick. If I move it really long. Now, the next thing I'm going to look at is BPM options. So if we know this sample here is 100 BPM, and here it says 150. Why? Because it just didn't detect it well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move it to 100. And here's why this is important. Because if I was going to move it to 100, you're often going to have slicing options that are going to have to do with the BPM of the thing you're slicing. So if I click here and I go to beat, I'm now going to have a slice every beat, which you can see it lines up on these transients pretty well. Right? So that's cool. But if we put it back to 150, for example, and I come here and I slice by beat, you're going to notice we're not catching the beginning of some of these big transients because we're not catching the beats that they're syncopated to. And that's just a big fancy word for meaning like it's on time. Next thing we're going to look at that almost every sampler has is something we just saw, which is slicing options. Dull, medium, sharp is stuff that you're going to see often for auto slicing. And then besides that, you generally have different beat counts, or you can place them yourself. Next thing you're going to see is that most of these things have a declick option. I know I said attack and descent are going to help get rid of those clicks and pops, but you're also going to have what's generally a click removal option. And that just about covers it. On hardware and software, there's so many options on so many different samplers. A lot of them have some really cool stuff. And, you know, I just wanted to cover the basic things that can get you along that you'll see almost anytime you hop behind any kind of sampler. So hopefully next time you hop behind a sampler, you'll see some things that are familiar to you and you can get going. So if you like this video, please like this video. If you have any comments, please comment. I always appreciate a subscribe. It's Warren with Scale Audio, and adios.